Adam Hall, welcome to Talk Badminton.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's been really good. You haven't watched any videos yet. You keep busy still training, right?
Yeah, so we're lucky even with the COVID pandemic, the elite sport is allowed to train, so we are pretty much training as normal, not quite the same amount as we were before, but yeah, really lucky that we are still getting in and getting able to train and obviously still prepare for the so very happy that we can still do that.
So when you go down to the Scots and Centre, I guess it's just staff and that in there. It must be.
We're actually training at the Coburn Centre just now, so it's literally just us and the coaches that are pretty much in. We don't even have, I think there's a cleaner that comes in one every couple of days, but the national team and the coaches and no one else really. So
And do you have to
we're quite lucky that way about Scotland on it.
You're still distancing, I guess.
Sorry?
You're still socially distancing.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we have different bubbles. So we have we have doubles and singles are training separately just now, and then with the doubles we actually have two groups of 5 or 6 at the moment, just to kind of minimise the amount of contact you're getting people, and it's obviously still restricted a little bit, so we can't do every. We're pretty much back to normal now, but still with a lot of different protocols in the background that seem to be working quite well. We haven't had a case yet, touch wood. So
yeah, it's amazing. So you kind of got a wee bubble, a training bubble, have you? And everybody's got their own training bubble, is it? Do you get that?
Yeah, pretty much. So I mean, yeah. So like at the start when we first got allowed back, it was really strict where we weren't allowed to do any doubles practices. We weren't allowed to touch the same shuttle. Quite strict. So that's gradually eased off as we've kind of gotten a bit more used to things. So now we can play doubles. We can have 3 on one side, do some 3v2 exercises. We don't need we don't need to have our own shuttles anymore. So it's all, but we are split into different bubbles. So we don't mix. So I don't mix with say Kirsty. I don't mix with Rachel. A lot of we're stuck within our little kind of training bubbles, and we don't leave that bubble really.
You still go at the same times, or is it separate?
So we have doubles and singles are separate. With the doubles, we're split into 2 bubbles in the moment. I don't know how the singles how it works with them, but we're still in the same hall because obviously the Coburn and 6 courts. So my bubble take the kind of first 2 courts, and then their bubble takes the kind of bottom 2 courts, and we have a space in the middle just to make sure that everything's all distanced and spaced out.
Yeah, that's good.
About these days.
Do you do a lot of personal training outside of badminton? That when you're not training, do you run? What do you do there? I saw you did some. I saw you actually doing some things when we were locked down. A lot of training outside and that kind of thing when there was no badminton.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah,
like?
back when we weren't allowed into the hall, a lot of we had like all of our training was all at home, so there was a lot of kind of running sessions, some home weights, which was really it's not obviously not as good as, but we kind of muddled our way through the kind of 3 months. So thankfully we can get like the Emirates is open for the Institute of Sport Athletes, so we can get into the gym twice a week now for weight sessions. So we're pretty much back to training normal. We don't really need to do anything at home now, other than the kind of odd gym session if the Emirates is shut for any reason, or occasional yoga session. But we're pretty much back to normal, thankfully, because the home sessions are really getting to us.
I'm sure when you were doing the home sessions, how was communication? What did you do to communicate with the coaches, etc.? And when you weren't actually on court, and what was the structure like? With the people giving you homework effectively and exercise, or what? How was that?
Yeah, like we were doing like weekly, twice weekly, like Zoom calls with the physios, do some like group yoga sessions, in contact with the S&C coach about what gym sessions and stuff like that we were doing, and then obviously then we had a weekly kind of team meeting with Ingo and Bob, and just to kind of make sure everyone's still motivated and going through kind of different bits. Then we started doing some like kind of home video, like watching with like Bob, with your designated coach, so doubles guys with Bob, singles guys with Ingo at the time, just to kind of keep our kind of minds sharp at the same time. So the community, I think, is a lot easier nowadays with them. There's so many different ways to communicate. So it's to make sure we were still on top of things. And if this had been 20 years ago, then it would have been a lot more difficult, obviously.
I don't know if you watched any of the Carolina Marin documentary. I think most of the pros have seen it. Have you watched any of that?
Yeah. We watched it. We were in Denmark playing the Denmark Open. Like the day it came out, and watched the 4 episodes in a row, and it was really interesting. I think it's really interesting to see their process and kind of the relationship between Carolina and Fernando. tense, something like I think, but I actually thought Fernando was going to come off worse by the end of the documentary, but actually he did kind of redeem himself.
Yeah.
Third, fourth episode, like you do see the amount that he cares and really puts into Carolina as a player. But yeah, it was really interesting. I really enjoyed the watch. It's not often we get to see. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I think it was what amazed me was actually that he doesn't go to all the matches because he's got young families. So he can only has joint custody, right? And he's at home.
Yeah.
He's at home one week and then away the next week. It was amazing, and he was watching it online. And I actually loved the bit where he was talking on his phone to the coach courtside during Carolina's game. He was watching it live on TV, and he was on the phone to the coach courtside telling her what to tell Carolina during the game. I thought that was amazing, right? That's
I've experienced that a couple of times with Andy Bowman back in the day when he couldn't come because he was phoning whoever was off at the time and getting me and Alex back into shape. So I've experienced that. It's a bit difficult, but it's better than nothing, I suppose.
Amazing technology, what it does, right? It's amazing, right? Isn't it? As you say in Zoom, and I was talking to Martin Campbell as well about how you've got such a knitted community. You work so hard together. So when you're not physically together, you actually described it. I actually described it almost like military. When you go away on trips together, you're literally living in each other's company. You're going through the same emotions and like living in like a bubble anywhere, right? Even like now, you're so close, right? You're with each other all the time. And when you can't,
it's been kind of it's been weird not seeing everyone like constantly, like especially at the start, like the kind of first 3-4 months of lockdown. Especially the kind of groups which are like for me, like I travel with Alex and Julie, like we had pretty much 2 years where we spent every week or every second week together in like a room or like an Airbnb. So you do spend a lot of time with people, sometimes a bit too much time with certain people. But it's kind of hard to juggle. I think it's like, especially when you're going away in 3-4 week tours, like you do need to try and find time to spend by yourself because people do get to you after a little bit. It doesn't matter how close you are when you spend that much time with someone in such close contact. It's quite difficult, and it does. We do have the odd argument when we're away.
I think you even have that with family. If you think about, you go.
I would describe it more like a family than a military, honestly. Like as I do feel like we are very family dynamic in the squad anyway nowadays.
I think you've just got to make allowances, right, for people, for different things. Certain people, you just realise probably quite soon that people are a certain way, and you can't really do anything.
You really learn to pick up on people's cues when they need to be left alone for a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to start with the question. I've lost your video for a second, but I'm sure that's just connection. But it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's okay. I can hear you fine. So first of all, first question: your full name.
So my full name is Adam Hall.
No middle names?
I've got 3 middle names, but I don't like to tell them. My full name is Adam Alistair Murdoch McGregor Hall. Don't ask.
What's wrong with that?
There's just so many names that my just a short name, Adam Hall, and you add in the 3 middle ones, and it doesn't fit in my driver's license. I can only have 2 in my driver's license.
That's brilliant. You need special forms. You couldn't get a checkbook with your name on it. McGregor. No. Write it down. Adam Alistair McGregor Hall. Is there
Adam Alistair Murdoch McGregor Hall?
Murdoch. Oh my God, that's literally the most Scottish name in the world, I reckon.
I mean, Adam Hall is so English, and then you got the 3 most Scottish names ever on the planet in the middle.
That's brilliant. And your age, Adam?
I'm 24, soon to be 25, unfortunately.
Oh, hey. So, can I ask you a question? When you've been a bad boy and your mum shouts at you, does she shout, Adam Alistair Murdoch McGregor Hall, would you come down and get your tea? Or is it...
I mean, I wouldn't know because I was an 8 child, so my mum never shouted at me. So I wouldn't be able. My mum doesn't get angry. I was my mummy's boy when I was growing up, so she didn't really shout at me very much. Plus, you wouldn't be able to get all that out quickly enough. I think you would lose the anger by the time you got to Hall. So
I don't know. I think it's got a ring about it, to be honest with you. So your home area, Adam?
Mauchline and East Ayrshire.
Mauchline, that's right. I was actually looking last night at the sports centre, and I think there was a video of you hitting a shuttle against the wall outside. Has that just been demolished, that sports centre?
Yeah, it was a sad day when I drove home and it wasn't there anymore. Spent like the majority of my childhood in that place, so I had a lot of memories. So yeah, I was a bit gutted when it shut, but
And
Yeah.
is that the only sports facility in that area?
Yeah, only they've shut down pretty much every sports facility within like a 10 mile radius. There's one games hall still in Catron at the community, which is really good. They're still going, but I don't know how long that'll stay there. But yeah, they've shut pretty much everywhere else. So nearest place for badminton if Catron's busy is like Kilmarnock, which is a good like 10-15 minute drive away, which is not ideal, but just how it is these days. Is the
Did
local
you live
councils
very
don't really
close
seem
to
to want
that?
to put money into sports facilities.
It's
So
terrible. Did you live very close to that sports centre? Like the Mauchline?
yeah, it was a big part of my life and a big part of a lot of people's lives. Like actually, when we found out it was shut, I actually arranged a little like kind of farewell day in the game hall. Kind of reached out to people that had been played for 20 years in that place. So we had a lovely day. Like we went into the hall, we played about with some juniors, played kind of old games, got a lot of kind of people just from back in the day in. We got somebody come up from Milton Keynes, someone came up from Manchester just to come and say bye to the place, really. So it was a really, really special day, I think, especially for Tommy, the guy that that started it all from the bottom until the point I got. Like, I think it was really nice for him and kind of for us to show our appreciation, how much the place meant to us. So
Or was
yeah, it was a good day, but again, it
it
was still a bit
council
sad.
run? Was it council run? I don't.
Yeah, it was council run, so it's got knocked down because I think they're building like sheltered housing in there. So yeah, I mean, I've had opinions on that. I don't think it's the best way to go forward. I think it did need a lot of work done. Like it hadn't been touched in 40 years almost, so it did need work done. But the councils weren't prepared to put money into it, which is I think is a shame. But
I agree. Well, my friend runs the Tyneside Badminton Centre in Newcastle, and
okay,
I don't know if you've been down there, but he's that was the school, and I was talking to him about it. He bought it from similar situation, really not funding, and it was an actual school, and he bought it from the council. I think it was I don't know if it was an auction or whatever. And he's a badminton player as well, right, from Newcastle, and so he bought it and he's developed it and he's added more courts to it, and it's a totally self-sustaining business now. I think the country's missing a lot of that, to be honest with you. It's a real shame to see sports facilities going down. And is badminton popular
yeah.
over in Mauchline? Is it a popular sport when you were there?
Well, when we there, we kind of dominated Scottish badminton for a period of time. Like I always feel in Scotland, like the little areas have their kind of time in the sun. So before us, it was maybe it was kind of Edinburgh. After us, it was Glasgow. But for a good 5-6 years, Mauchline was everywhere. I think when I worked out, we'd let me just get the numbers. Like when I calculated all the kind of national titles and everything we'd I think it worked out at 62 junior national champions, 15 British titles, like 10 Scottish school titles. We had like 5 people who'd been capped for Scotland. Like we had so much just from a little village. Like it was crazy, and it was all just kind of stemmed from people being really passionate, like coaches Tommy, Morag, Maggie P, all being really passionate, really wanting to kind of drive the community in Mauchline, and it was ridiculous for a period of time. So it was really sad when that stopped, but yeah, we really did achieve a lot for such a small place.
Wow. Do you know Steve Thompson?
I don't. I might recognize the name, but I was looking through your videos and I saw he was from
Yeah,
Ayrshire,
I've
but
heard of Steve Thompson.
didn't ring a bell.
He's Ayrshire. He's a really good player. He's moved around a lot, but he's originally from Ayrshire. He talks a lot about Ayrshire badminton as well. But is that right? Mauchline's in Ayrshire, is that right?
Yeah, it's in East Ayrshire.
Yeah, East Ayrshire. Yeah. So I think you'll certainly know a lot of the names that you're talking about. He's a good player, very good player. He plays with Ross Gladwin in Edinburgh, who I don't know if you know. Okay, so brothers or sisters, you've got your only child, is that right?
No, I've got 2 sisters.
Oh, have you?
So yeah, and they both played badminton back in the day. Orna, my oldest sister, she just played for kind of fun. She won a few Ayrshire schools titles, but she was never like that competitive with it. But my middle sister Katie, she played for Scotland up to junior level, like internationally. She won a few national titles, and she was unfortunate that she came through. When she came into senior level, the kind of team was a bit full. Like we had a full squad of like Imogen Bankier, Jelly Cooper, Susan Hughes, like Rita. There was a full lot of really good players at that time. So she unfortunately didn't get in. But if she'd been a few years younger, she would have easily made it into the senior team, like no problem. So yeah, she still plays for fun now as well. Like it's still a big part of her life.
Where is she now? Is she local?
She's back in Mauchline just for the moment, but she moved into London last New Year. So Yeah, she joined the club down there. She plays and still plays in like I think it's Wimbledon Badminton Club or something. So, and she was the kind of Scottish disability head coach for a while. So I did really, and yeah, she does. She works at BWF doing kind of para badminton coaching courses around the world. So she still does. She still takes a very active para badminton as well.
Well, what's the age difference, Adam?
So Lorna is 7 years older than me, and Katie's 5. So quite a big gap.
And did you used to play against her then when you start? What age? Sorry, let me go back to questions. What age did you when you first played? When you first played?
So I was 4 when I first went to Games Hall. So I kind of had my period of time where I just kind of copied anything that Lorna and Katie did. So they both started, and then I just followed along as well, and kind of progressed quite quickly from there. So I mean, I didn't really play Katie or Lorna that much. Like I don't remember doing it anyway. I think we were like in Mauchline, we had so many players at the time that we had different sessions for different abilities. So I don't think me and Katie or Lorna ever really crossed paths because they were such a big age group, but. I've played Katie once at like a West of Scotland like years ago, but that's the only time I've ever played against each other. We played with each other a few times as well, but that never really went very well.
Who was your who was your motivation when you first started? Who was the person that you thought? I think everybody's got kind of a person that kind of motivates them to start. Do you remember who got you into it? If you weren't going with your sisters, who would it have been that motivated you to go and made you like it? And who's? I guess
yeah, I
there
mean,
must be somebody there, right? That's really good that loves it.
yeah, I mean, I very much credit my badminton career to Tommy Mulgrew, who was the coach at the time. Like he's just so enthusiastic and so passionate about badminton and about the local community. Like there's no way like he just kind of yeah, it's ridiculous how much of an impact he's had. And yeah, no, he was a big part of the reason that I kept going back. Like I say, he was just like he put his heart and soul into the game. So it was kind of his passion project. So, and you can see by the results he got from it, like how successful he was at it. So, no, I do really like. I do really appreciate everything Tommy's done for me. Anyway.
How long did you go there for?
So I was there like from the age of 4 until I probably went to high school. So when I went to the school of sport when I was like 11, so a good like 7 years, and then I've kind of been back. I've done a bit of coaching here and there just when I've had time, and I did try and get back as much as I could when the place was still there. So yeah,
Wow,
it was a good big chunk of my life anyway.
sounds like quite a guy. Is he still about?
Yeah, like it was unfortunately he had to stop running the game so because he kind of started working full time with the council doing other things, and then he retired from like that job maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So he does still do stuff in the community. He pretty much runs the catching game hall, so he still does some badminton lessons maybe once or twice a week. So it's still I think they're still going strong, not quite to the same level as it used to be, but he still enjoys it, and it's good to see that he's
When you
still
used to
able to
go,
keep going.
how many people would go when you were there when you first started going? Was it busy? Also, when did you go? Was it twice a
So
week?
yeah, I was busy.
Was it?
Yeah, it was busy. Like I think there was sessions every day, Monday to Friday. Like there was some day there was 2 sessions. Like I think I started off. Can't remember the days exactly, but I remember there was like a beginner's session twice a week for like an hour and a half, and then you moved up to the kind of intermediate, and then you moved up again to like the level above that. So there was at least there must have been at least like 8 to 10 sessions on a week, and then
Wow.
that's not including weekends, and that's not including like when the holidays are on. They did camps for the full Easter holidays, Christmas, October break, everything.
And that was all Tommy.
Like all Tommy and Morag Gillis, who's sadly not with us anymore, but yeah, it was the two of them were the kind of driving force for that.
Isn't that absolutely incredible? And tell me what the discipline was like in that. Was it always just fun, or was there discipline? Was the time?
It was a lot. It was a lot of fun. Tommy's got a really good way of being able to teach you basic things, but in a really fun way to make you really engaged and continue with it. So there was like I remember that like first started it was a lot of just games and little kind of things. I remember just playing lots of games like balancing the shuttle on your racket and kind of running about the hall, throwing shuttles off the wall to kind of get that kind of technique of the clear and the smashes and stuff. And then like most days, like we do a little bit of training, but it was kind of like a big ladder system he had. So it was always a group of 4. You the top one and one would play 4, 2 would play 3. Winners would play again full ladder system down. So it was always groups of 4. So if you won your group, you'd move to the group above. If you came last in your group, you'd go down below. So it was always really competitive. Like we only had two courts. There was like 30, 40 people playing on 2 courts. So it was a lot of half court singles. When I think back, it's ridiculous how we managed to do it, but we all absolutely loved it. So
If you're in contact with him, I would love you to put me in touch with him. Because
Oh yeah, definitely,
he,
100%. I think he'd have a lot
he
of good
sounds
stuff to say.
amazing. He sounds absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And was there physical discipline at that stage? I guess you were too young. Was it mostly geared around enjoyment? And how did he? Can I ask how he developed you? And how did he? Do you think he spotted you? And so he's obviously. I can understand actually why when that kind of level of kind of activity that a group of people would become exceptional. How did he move on? Did he help you move forward in your career?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I don't remember the exact details. Obviously, it was quite a long time ago now, but yeah, I was a lot about kind of making technical practices fun. So like, it always had some sort of game or some sort of competition for you to practice whatever shot you were doing. Like we played lots of games of like round the world and kind of it was all like half court, beat the pros and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun stuff. But because there was such a big group, you would like I was always playing against older people, so I always had to challenge myself to play people that were bigger, stronger. So I feel I've probably known more now for my kind of tactical skills and kind of my way that I can read the game. I think a lot of that was developed when I was younger because I had to play smart. I couldn't like all these people were bigger than me, they were stronger than me, so I had to deal with that from quite a young age. So I think that's definitely one of the reasons that I've kind of got. That's one of the ways I got my attributes I've got now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think Tommy did kind of spot me early on and did move me forward and kind of did pay a lot of attention to me, which was I appreciate now, obviously. So
Did he get you into competitions and things? Would he say, "Oh, there's a competition coming up. I think you should go for it"? Or when was your first
yeah,
competition? Do you remember that?
I think I don't remember the exact. I was definitely penny cook under 10.
Was it?
I I was 6. I think I was 6 or 7. But that was my first like competitive tournament. Like we played. I'm pretty sure there was like leagues at the time. There was a little Ayrshire league. I'm pretty sure. Like, we played like kind of primary school quakes in the inter areas and stuff like that. But I think my first like individual competitive tournament was under 10 at Pennycook. But yeah, Tommy was always kind of pushing us to make sure that we were playing tournaments, like playing nationals, playing Scottish schools, Ayrshire schools, everything. We had little in competitions in Mauchline as well, so it was always fairly competitive.
Was there a group of you? Did you have a group at that time that you're together with regularly for these tournaments? Was it the same people? Was it your sisters who? Was there other people? Also, was there people that you know now that was involved then?
No one that plays properly now. I think the only person is Gregor McVean, he's a coach in Hungary now. And I coaches he's the head coach of the kind of under 50, under 17 team. Kind of played again junior internationally up to the point. So he was the best player around, but he was 3 years older than me. So he was the kind of best player in that kind of my kind of age range. So he was always a big kind of inspiration when I was growing up. My cousin played, so she was. I spent a lot of time with her playing kind of badminton stuff. My best friend at the time played badminton. Yeah, there was kind of a few in my class in primary school. It was me, a boy called James Milton, who I played juniors with all the way through. Boy Gavin Lowe, who's now he plays for rugby for Scotland, rugby sevens. So yeah, there was a decent group of like 3 or 4 my age who all kind of played for Scotland's junior level, like kind of year above me. And then Holly Newell, kind of she played internationally for us now. She's from Auckland as well, so she came through the same system I did.
Really?
So we were the kind of last 2 standing. But like I say, there was a lot of successful juniors came from Auckland that didn't quite make it senior.
I need to look into Mauchline. Is it a village?
Yeah, it's probably maybe classed as a town now. It's kind of expanding always, but now that yeah, it's as I say, we did dominate for a period of time.
It's absolutely phenomenal what you're talking about. I just find it absolutely incredible. So your story really was you loved it, right, from the get go.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I was just like we literally would just go straight. Like I'd finish school, we'd walk from school to the game stall, and I'd play the game stall for 2 3 hours. My parents would come back from work and take us home. Like I think it was kind of cheap babysitting for them more than anything else, because we literally would just walk from the game stall from school straight to the game stall, and they pick us up from there. So yeah, no, it was a huge chunk of my life, and
So was
I
that
do
like every
look back
day?
really fondly.
Was that kind of every day or what? I mean,
It wasn't every day. Like I don't think anyway. Like when it wasn't badminton, we play like short tennis or mini tennis, some people call it. But there's badminton, there's short tennis. I only really played those 2 things. I'm not the kind of person that played like 1,000 sports when I was younger. I literally played badminton, played ice hockey for a bit, and I played short tennis in the badminton hall. But that was pretty much badminton from quite a young age.
and can I ask what were you like at school? Was that Do you just itching to go and do sport, or are you academic at all, or what?
No, I was fairly smart at primary school and throughout. Like I got decent grades all the way through.
Yeah.
I wasn't the most athletic person ever though when I was younger. Like I was a bit fat, I was small. I wasn't good at any other sport. Like badminton was really it for me. I wasn't like I was a natural runner. I can't kick even to this day. Can't kick a ball to save myself. So football was never an option. So
Love it.
yeah, no, I was I did really enjoy school when I was younger. I enjoyed school all the way through. Probably don't enjoy learning as much now, but I did when I was younger.
First time of, do you remember your first? Were your parents involved in badminton at all? So.
No, like they actually they're really involved now. Like my mum and dad do a lot of the running. Like they run the West tournaments. They work at the Scottish Open every year, the Nationals. Like they've been really involved in badminton, but only really through us. I think my dad played a little bit when he was younger, but it wasn't anything special. No, it really was just like my generation that started it, and then they kind of started coming along after that.
And how did you get ferried about for tournaments and that kind of stuff? Did your parents take you, or what was that? Did you?
Yeah, like the majority of the time, my parents would drive, so they were my taxi drivers for. I think their happiest day was when I passed my driving test. But because there was such a lot of us from Mauchline or from Ayrshire at the time, like we did share a lot of lifts. Like when I went to the School of Sport, there was four of us from Mauchline that were all at School of Sport at the same time. So we had a driving rota where one parent would just drive a day because public transport from Mauchline to Glasgow is pretty non-existent. And then same in like national squads at night. Like there was two boys from Prestwick, Ben Torrance, Josh Neal, who I used to play with in my full junior years. So we would take turns. Their parents would pick us up and drop us off at the Q8 garage in Kilmarnock, and we'd kind of do that. So it wasn't mom and dad driving every day all the time. We did work it out quite well with other people.
That's absolutely fun. Is it far from Dundonald? Prestwick, is that kind of your area? Is that where you are?
We're not too far from Prestwick. No, I think this thing's maybe like a 15-minute drive, 20-minute drive.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. I was golf there last year. I love it. So you're seaside, right? It's coastal.
No, we're kind of a bit more inland. So like Ayr is like the kind of closest coastal bit to us. We're like 10, 15 minutes from Ayr.
Wow.
So it's like if you know where Kilmarnock is, it's like another 10 minutes further south of Kilmarnock.
Right, back to the questions. Here we go. Where did you start playing all that? First ever racket. Do you remember that?
Yeah, as I was a little mini purple Fukuda racket. I think I've still got it. I think it's still at my mum and dad's house somewhere. Didn't change. Not really changed rackets much in my life. I really am. I like to stick to the same racket. So I had the purple Fukuda one. I had like maybe 3 Ashway rackets. Then I got sponsored by Yonex when I was like 12 or 13. I've only had 3 Yonex rackets and 11 or 12 years being sponsored by them. So really, I like to stick with a racket.
And do they offer you rackets? Do you want your racket? And you're like, no, I'm all right. What's the...
I think Steve, the guy that's the Onyx representative, I think he has asked me once if I do fancy changing. I just can't shut that down quite quickly. So I keep waiting for the day he's going to make me change it, but hopefully that's another while yet.
You sound terrible for racket sales. Yeah.
I mean, I like to change.
Yeah, exactly right. What was the name of your first club?
Mauchline Badminton Club. I played there for the first maybe 10 years. First 10 years. There was Mauchline Badminton Club. I played at Hurlford Badminton Club a little bit as well. And then I joined there was Ayrshire Satellite Squad and there was the Glasgow Satellite Squad. I did a couple of times a week as well. So as I got older, you kind of started off Mauchline, then went to Hurlford, then I went to the Satellite Squads and then International Squad eventually.
So is it like, it sounds like you love it, right? It sounds like you love it. Like you love the sport and you always did love the sport. The interview I did with Martin Campbell didn't come across like this. It didn't, he was recognized as an excellent player and was told that if you want to take it seriously, you need to focus, train, you need to do this. Well, it sounds like you started for a long period of time loving it from a very young age. And then does it feel now like you've just like getting paid for doing what you love, like going to a club? Is that how it feels?
Yeah, I'm not going to say that I love it all the time now. I think I did, like, when I was younger, like, I was obsessed from the age of maybe 4 till about 17, 18. Like, I was obsessed with badminton, like, proper badminton Roy Keane. So, like, everything I did was badminton. Yeah. But I think the last kind of 5 or 6 years, it's not easy. Like, it's not an easy life being a professional athlete. There's a lot more downs than there is ups. So I can't say that. And there's been different different periods of time in the last 4 years that I've not enjoyed at all. Like there was a year or two ago, I was thinking about quitting because I really wasn't enjoying it. But it's all about kind of finding your way back when you know you did love it that much. It's always kind of trying to find ways to get back to that point. So I think I'm in a better place like with the sport now. But again, like 2 years ago, wasn't really there. So
I
I
think
had to work a bit harder to get back to that.
you're probably right. I think you've got to remind yourself. I actually have kind of occasional chats with Hans Batingas, who suffers and pressures himself, and you get so pressured into winning all the time. And then when you stop winning and go through a bad routine, that I think you forget that you loved it, and I think probably it's not a bad thing to unwind and maybe go back to Mauchline and go and have a game of badminton with one of your friends, but and remind yourself why you started. I think that's what kind of goes out. I suppose that's the same with anything you do. You start off loving it, and then it becomes a job, right? And then so like when you I asked that question to Martin Campbell, when a friend asks you, says, "Do you fancy going for a game of badminton on a Friday night when you go home?" What do you say? Do you say, "Oh, listen, no chance"?
Absolutely not. That'd be shut down straight away.
Absolutely no chance. Yeah, good. So I'm going to go back to the question. Shuttles. Do you remember your first shuttles? What did Tommy get you for shuttles?
Yeah, we were plastic. Either it was Yelex or Carlton, one of the two. But I exclusively used plastic shuttles until I was maybe 9 or 10. Like we did not get feathers because obviously like plastic was cheaper. They could last forever. So yeah, we didn't really get feather shuttles. It was a treat when we got feather shuttles at tournaments. But yeah, it was plastic all the way.
Brilliant. Tommy was your first coach. Do you remember the first? Do you remember the first thing he taught you?
I did my first memories of Mauchline game. So would be it was just the technique for throwing. So like, we used to just throw shuttles to each other pretty much. So like that kind of first like overhead technique was that's why I remember doing that religiously. We were throwing shuttles to each other, always doing something with that kind of thing. Yeah, so overhead technique, 100%.
Was he a good player?
I don't think he played that much. I don't think he was. I've never. He never really likes to speak about himself that much, but I don't think he played that much when he was younger. Morag, who was the kind of like the other coach at the time, I think she played to like a decent enough level, not like international or anything, but definitely a local level. She was pretty good. But I don't like Tommy's a I think he's still always. I don't know what. I'm not going to say what age he is now, but he can still play a pretty good game. So.
I find it amazing when you see when I grew up there was a guy that ran the league, and he went there and he went with his shirt and trousers on, and he sat down at his little table with the sheets of paper, and he organised all the games, and he gave out the shuttles, and he just sat there, and you think that's so selfless, that behaviour, don't you think? I can't imagine. Yeah. Like I get that. I guess I must be really selfish because I just want to go and play badminton. The idea of sitting for like 4 hours watching games and kind of directing people on courts and noting down scores is my idea of hell.
Tommy absolutely loved it. Like you could see even that last day we had in the game, so he was back in his absolute element. It was great to see. I remember I remember we used to go through the badges. I can't remember what they were called. We used to have it was the Scottish Association like badges, or you used to go through. I remember you only could get your first badge if you beat Tommy at half court singles. So that was the benchmark. So I still remember my game against him to win my patch or my badge or something. But yeah, that was he still got involved a lot. Like he was really hands on. He was always wanting to feed, always going and getting involved. So
sounds like a great guy. And do you feel? Has he inspired you to think that you'd like to be like that, or when you finished? I guess I don't know if the question comes. I suppose I'll talk to you about this again another time. I think it's about 33 minutes already. I'm just curious as to whether he makes you feel like I want to be like that, or do you have it in you, or could you learn from that? How do you feel about teaching other people to play now?
Yeah, I mean, I do try and get back to the sport as much as I can. Like I volunteered at the Four Nations Para Badminton every year since I was like 14 or 15. I helped out on every under 11 nationals pretty much. After I went past under 11, I would go back every year and do the courts and stuff like that. Like I do really try and get back to the community as a whole. Like say badminton's given a lot to me, so I do try and give that back. Like I coach the junior national squads. I have done since I was like 18. So like I never want to be the kind of person that just does badminton and it's kind of just does it and doesn't try and give anything back. I do try and get back to the sport as much as I can. I think that does stem from Tommy being so selfless when he was coaching us.
Yeah, sounds like a great guy. Okay, don't forget to put me in touch with him. So,
Yeah.
do you remember your first ever tournament and trophy?
Yes. The first trophy I remember winning, there was the first ever under 11 nationals, and me and Tommy Son, actually Paul, we won the under 11 doubles. So that was the very first one. So that's the first thing that springs to my mind. I think I was 8. I definitely won stuff before that, but I don't. It doesn't come to me. But that's the part of the first one that really sticks out.
Do you still have the trophy?
Yeah, so it's still at mom and dad's house. So we didn't get to keep the trophies because BAM Scotland you don't get to keep the trophies, but Tommy actually made us a replica. So I've still got the replica that Tommy got made for us in my house. Yeah.
Wow, Tommy got you a replica. Now he is a coach. Yeah, that guy's got some kind of halo. That's awesome. What was your most successful event? Yeah, did you used to play singles or doubles or mixed when you first started?
I played all three. I've always seen myself as more of a doubles and mixed player because again I was small, slow, fat, so singles was singles was a bit more hard work. But I was a good singles player. Like I guess I still enjoy it. I probably enjoy a singles more now. I hated it for a period of time, but I was successful at all three all the way through juniors. I think I've got the record for the most junior national titles from under 11 up to under 19. And that was equally won singles, doubles, and mixed pretty much. But definitely always saw myself more as a doubles and mixed player quite early on, which is quite odd for a young person because everyone loves singles when you're younger apparently.
Well, I just think in community badminton you can't help it because how often do you go to the club and there's like 3 people, and that's what inevitably you'll end up playing singles sometime. So I'm going to stop with this question if that's okay because we're 35 minutes in.
Yep.
I've got a whole future section which I haven't got, so I'd like to come back and do it again if that's okay, Adam.
Yeah, no problem. I do ramble on, so I apologise.
I like it a lot. I love it. As a matter of fact. Who's your main competition growing up? Because I'm a Slavro as well.
Yeah, the main competition for me probably Josh Neal, who works at BAM Scotland now, but he was definitely we were kind of always kind of pitted against each other growing up. He was a year older than me, but yeah, there was a lot of competition between us all the way through until we got senior level. Josh still played. He played kind of 3-4 years with us as seniors before he had to stop through injury. But yeah, he was definitely my biggest rival growing up.
And how much older than you? Did you say it was 3 or 4 years older than you?
It's just 1 year older than me. So we spent a lot of time together. Like even though I was a year younger, because my age group when I was younger wasn't great. Like I was quite a large bit ahead of everyone else my age. I actually spent a lot of my time playing the year above and 2 years above. So I actually do view myself as like 2 years older than I actually am because I spent so much time with people that were 2 years older than me from when I was younger.
It's so good for you, isn't it? Don't you think it's good for your drive to have somebody that's just a wee bit ahead of you, just something there's just someone there. The person that's the best and always wins never seems quite right. I just think, I think it's great to have something there to push you. Brilliant, Adam. Thank you. That's been amazing. Thank you for your time. Next time I'll maybe get to see you because I've got a blank screen and have done for about 20 minutes, but it's been great.
Okay, God.
It's been great to listen to you, and I look forward to I look forward to part 2. Maybe same time next week. Does this night suit you? Tuesday night suit you this time?
Yeah, fine. If you want to part of if you can put up with me that quickly, then yeah, no problem.
Yeah, happy days. Next Tuesday, same time. Awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Adam. Have a great day and a great week. Speak soon.
Yeah, you too.
And don't forget Tommy. Don't forget Tommy, right?
Yeah, so I'll message his number now. So that can be really good to have on.
Wait till I put this online and you can tag him in it, all right? Cheers.
Perfect, okay.
Take care. Thanks, Adam. Thank you.
Cheers, bye.